What is this about manifestation and societal hypnosis? We've been talking about this for a long time, for about a week, okay? And this week, in that process, we are talking about it because it keeps you from your goals. It keeps you from manifestation. Some people are of the belief, okay, that this is being done on purpose to keep people down. Okay, so whether you think that this is a conspiracy to keep people down, or whether you just see it as life and that life happens, and that certain things that you may not be aware of begin to condition you into states of mind or states of thinking, which result into states of being that are not conducive for your goals or your manifestation purposes. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Okay, so that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to talk a little bit about a lot of things, okay, but mostly about manifestation and why you need to snap out of the hypnosis. Okay, so let's take a look at societal hypnosis and what it does. Okay, so what does this societal hypnosis thing do? I mean, and why is it such a bad thing? Okay, so anyway, the reason why it's such a bad thing is because when things project ideas and thoughts onto you. Now, this could be TV commercials, okay? This could be advertising, okay? It could be advertising, could be TV commercials, could be anything. It could be the things that you get. So in my book, I'm going to show you my book. I don't always show people my book, but here's my book. It's called The Universal Law of Attraction and Singing. It's been on Amazon since 2016. Okay, now in my book, I talk about, I think it's chapter 5, The Earth-Shattering Carelessness of Authority. I just want to be correct with that. Yeah, it's chapter 5, The Earth-Shattering Carelessness of Authority. What is that? Well, when you hear something from someone in authority, or someone you respect, or someone that you hold high, like high regards for, okay? When they say something, you take it to heart. When they say something, you remember it because of the impact of the respect or the impact of their position. Okay, so this could be a college professor. This could be your parents. This could be your grandparents. This could be an uncle, an auntie, a cousin, a friend. Anybody that you hold high regard for. Okay, good morning, Jay. Anybody that you hold high regard for. But this is what happens. And the earth-shattering carelessness of authority, okay, happens when we start to buy into what they tell us. So question everything. Do your research, okay? Because when you do your research, you're going to find that, oh, okay, maybe this is not as they are telling it to me. Okay, so let me give you an example. So I've done this before. I've given this example before. So if you've heard it before, just bear with me. Okay, when I was about 12, my mom, I guess she was having a bad day. She told me I was clumsy. And it wasn't until I was 40 years old, okay, and that long, that I was having just a discussion with my girlfriend at the time. And I happened to say that I was clumsy. She said, "You're not clumsy." And I go, "Oh yeah, I'm clumsy." Okay. Because this was a paradigm that was installed when I was 12. See, and so when she told me this, I had to observe. I had to observe myself closely. And I had to observe myself closely for about 2 weeks. And then I, came to the conclusion, well, I didn't do anything clumsy. So yeah, okay, I'm not clumsy. But it took that to bring me to that realization. So the earth-shattering carelessness of authority happens when someone in authority tells you something and you take it to heart and you believe it. When someone in, whoever, someone you respect or whatever, they give you these comments or they say something. It could be like, you're sitting in a college class, right? And your professor says something and then you automatically take it to heart and, treat it as gospel. Okay. So this happens. And when this happens, you start to believe, right? It goes into your subconscious. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. As you keep thinking the thoughts, Okay? As you keep thinking the thoughts, what happens? You believe it. Okay? Now, when you believe it, what happens? It starts to structure your paradigm, the way you see the world. Okay? That's the trunk of the tree. Remember the subconscious tree? So the roots of the tree are your core beliefs. Okay? The trunk of the tree is your paradigm. The fruits of the tree are your actions, and your actions give you results. Okay, because everything you do has a result. Okay, so any action that you take, hi Lele, good morning. Any action you take has a result. Okay, so anyway, now what does this have to do with manifestation? Well, it depends on what you believe. It depends on what you believe to be true. Okay, and if you believe certain things, it will either limit you, okay, it will limit your thinking, or it will expand your thinking. It depends on what it is. So if these thoughts are of limitation, it will inhibit your manifestation process. Or let's say it this way, it'll slow it down. Okay, and when it slows it down, what'll happen is you won't really get the things that are pertaining to who you are, okay, because you attract who you are, not just what you want. Okay, but when these thoughts occur, now you have lack. Now you have, right, scarcity. Now you have less than, or you have smaller, or limitations versus abundance versus, that side of things, right? So what I'm saying is the earth-shattering carelessness of authority in my book is about paying attention to something someone said. So this lady, one of my clients, had this experience. When she was in college, her professor said, well, you should find something else to do besides singing. So it shattered her world. She was mortified. Okay, so much so that she didn't sing until she was 42. I met her at 42 and she came to me and she said, I just want to see if I can. I just want to try because my professor told me when I was 23, right? Okay, so all that time, that whole span of time, she never sang. And then she sang for me and we worked with her and she sang fine. She was okay. I mean, she wasn't great, okay, but we started to develop her and in 2 months, she was much better than when she came. And she had to leave and move to the mainland. I'm in Hawaii. And so I told her, follow up with somebody, anybody, just follow up and keep going. Okay, but this is what happens when you shut down. So people can shut you down by a thought. And that thought can be just something limiting like that. Okay? And then all of a sudden, right? You don't embrace the same things anymore. Like in her case, she didn't want to sing anymore. Her feelings were hurt. Okay, she was discouraged. Why? Because this was a professor that told her that. He could have been having a bad day. He could have been, whatever, right? You never know what people are going through or how they're feeling. Okay, but it was a terrible thing and she shut down. Now, these things happen with other things. You could hear this thing from a military person. If you're in the military, maybe a superior, maybe they're having a bad day, maybe they say something, it sticks in your head. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. So it goes into your subconscious. And then now, right, your subconscious repeats it as a program. So if the thought, in her mind was, I can't sing, right? And then she came to me at 42 and she just wanted to see, can you please try with me? I just want to see if I can. And she could, okay? But the earth-shattering carelessness of authority happens when people in authority, could be our parents, our grandparents, auntie, uncle, best friend, whoever, people that we hold high regard for. When they say things and we start thinking about it, okay? So this is planting seeds, okay? Because the seeds, when you hear this, you think positive, right? Oh, so-and-so planted seeds, with the kids. And so now the kids are starting to think of being productive kind of thing, right? But you can also plant negative seeds and not even know because you're having a bad day and you just say something, right? Now that sticks in someone's head. A belief is a thought you keep thinking, goes into the subconscious and then becomes their reality. And in that sense, you can curse someone. Okay, that is a curse of sorts. Okay, people get cursed in their subconscious all the time. And this is why they say the tongue is sharper than the sword, because it can create that kind of damage. Okay, psychological damage very easily. Okay, but here's the back end of it. The back end of it is that you have a subconscious, and that subconscious witnesses what you said. And your subconscious does not know if you're talking to someone else or if you're talking to yourself. So what you give out comes back in your subconscious. All of a sudden, you don't feel like going out. All of a sudden, your self-esteem starts to lower. You start to isolate. You start to withdraw. You start to hold back. You start to procrastinate. You start to hesitate. All of these negative emotions. What did you say? What did you do? What did you think? All of these things go in your subconscious. People don't think about this. Okay, right now my subconscious does not know if I'm talking to you or if I'm talking to me. It cannot distinguish. It has no prejudice. Your subconscious does not know fantasy from reality. If you start telling your subconscious something of fantasy, it will believe that it's true because it just takes orders. This is why affirmations work so well. Okay, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. Okay, what is confidence? Confidence is an inner, relaxed feeling. It's a state of being. It's not something you add to yourself. It's the result of the negative things that you take away because you were born confident. You were born in God's love. Okay, you were born confident. And then the negativity happened. Okay, so when you respond in negativity, you see kids do that all the time, right? Some mean kids say something and then they say it back. And then it goes back and forth, right? And then they become programmed. Why? Well, because if it's something that another kid does out of habit, and if they're bullying the other child, or if they're insulting the other child will think about it in repetition. It will hurt them emotionally. As a defense, they will strike back. And when this happens, now you have two paradigms. Because you don't act the same way with your mom as you act with your dad. You don't act the same way with your friends as you do with your other half, right? You don't act the same way with your boss as you do with your coworkers. Humans have multiple paradigms. It's not just one paradigm. You hear thought leaders go, oh, well, you have to change your paradigm. That's true. If you're gearing your paradigm for success, some people who have closed minds, okay, with the blinders on, human blinders look like this, horse blinders look like this, okay? Humans walk around like this all the time because 95% of your life is subconscious, okay? Some people sleep through life. Wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. They're not really fully engaged in what they're doing. They're doing it out of repetition. Get up, go to work, right? Everything is systematic. Get up, brush your teeth, take a shower, get dressed, go to work, whatever. Grab something, grab a bite, rush out of the house, go to work. And this starts to become a routine. This is why it's important that you form a routine, so that you can form a routine that's productive for you, that benefits you, that works in your favor, okay? So if it works in your favor, now you're being productive. If something doesn't work, then just write the opposite, okay? Let's say you're feeling lazy, and the next day, you're lazy again. The next day, if you're lazy, your subconscious knows, okay, already. The second time you repeat things, your subconscious knows. After you repeat it for 2 weeks, it becomes like the first signs of memorization, the first signs of, oh, this is a program. And your subconscious goes, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, let's do this, right? Good morning, So Dakota. Good morning. I answered your message, by the way. So this becomes a program. Now what? Now it will repeat the program. Okay, so affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization aimed at any one thing has to happen. It cannot not happen. It's because of perception. It's because of your reticular activating system in your brainstem. Okay, it's conscious, subconscious, superconscious, and the alignment thereof. When you align the conscious thought, so the conscious mind picks the target. Okay, we're going to work on that, or I want that, or I want to do that, or I want that job, or I want to do this thing. Okay, so that decision is made consciously. And that's only 5% of your life. 5%. In repetition, it commits it to the subconscious. The subconscious then looks for avenues towards the goal or towards what the belief is. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. So, are you guarding your thoughts? That's the first question. Okay. When you get a thought that you don't want, you have 6 seconds before the amygdala starts to work in fight or flight mode. It will start giving you what ifs, but they will all be in the negatives. Why is that? Because humans have negativity bias. Relationship, and she brings up every single thing that happened, right? You're not even aware. You're not like, whoa, where did that come from? I don't remember that, right? Because you weren't taking notes. Okay. But anyway, that's besides the point of the discussion. But to effectively manifest things, okay, I've done this with companies. I've done this with clients. In fact, Jay just saw me. Jay just saw me do this with clients the past week and a half. But it works with everything, but you need to condition your subconscious first. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is my, this is the one I'm working on right now. So it's thin like that, right? Just a little. This is one that I'm done with. I have about 12 of these in storage. These are affirmations. This is not journaling, okay? It's affirmations. So what happens with affirmations? You condition your subconscious. So people are getting conditioned every day by their environment. This is why humans are subjected to their environment, okay? Whatever your environment is, you blend in with the environment. You start thinking, oh, wow, I moved to this new town, right? And you start thinking, wow, these slangs are cool that they're using. You start using them. You get in a new friend group, right? You become like your friends. Slowly, right? But you get in there. You start using their language. You start using their terms. You start using their slang, okay? And slowly you blend in. And this is why they say, if you show me 5 of your closest friends, I'll tell you who you are. Okay, why is that? Because humans are social creatures, okay? And they bond and they join, okay? Whatever it is that you join energetically, you become. Okay, so whatever it is, okay, energetically, you join like this. Okay, when you engage, you join. You're not your body, you're not your name, you're this spirit that lives in here. When this spirit, or if you want to call it energy, okay, for those of you who may not be in alignment with spirituality or religion, because they're both like that, then it's energy. Okay, you can agree that we have energy. Okay, so energetically, on the energetic level, when you engage, you join. Okay, and this is true for many things. Thank you. Thank you, user. Good morning. Hey, Jeep Dude. Good morning. Good morning. My message is so good for this Sunday morning. Thank you. Thank you. We're getting around to the Sunday part soon. Don't worry. Stay tuned. Okay. So why is this important with manifestation and your goals? Because you can bring anything into your world, I swear. Okay? But you have to condition your subconscious. And you have to get the blockages out of the way. What are the blockages? Negative self-beliefs. the things that you believe about yourself that are negative, that you can change. Okay? I was just talking to one of my clients this morning, and he was telling me about how he needs to change his thinking because it was inherited from his parents, and his parents were narrow-minded, like this, like that, okay? And this is what happens in college, okay? When you go to college, you're like this, okay? And the job of the college is to focus you on whatever it is you're there for, okay? So this is doctor, this is nurse, this is electrician, this is, okay, like that, because it's a focus. So sometimes I work with executives, so I coach executives in my life coaching company. But those people sometimes, depends on the individual, it's not a blanket thing, but those people sometimes are the hardest to pull out of the left brain. And we're not talking politics, okay? Just somebody thought I was talking politics the other day, left and right brain. No. Left hemisphere of the brain, okay? To pull them out of the logic, okay? Logic, this is logic, okay? And move them into the right hemisphere of the brain where creativity lives, where God lives. Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father. There's your Sunday. There you go. Okay? Why does it say that? Why does the Bible say that? Okay, I only know Bible. Okay, I don't know the Torah and the Quran and stuff like that. Okay, I haven't really gotten into that. But the reason why is because when you move to right brain thinking, now you can create. You're a co-creator with God. Sure, you can go along with the system. Okay, you can go along with logic, but logic will only take you so far. And this is why Einstein said, education will take you from A to Z or A to B, whatever, something like that, right? And imagination will take you everywhere. Why? Because you can create with imagination. That's where the Wright brothers got the airplane from. And today, we sit in a chair in the sky and go across the world. But what were they telling the Wright brothers when they were building, when they were experimenting, when they were trying, right? They said, oh no, that's of the devil. If God meant for man to fly, he would have built us with wings. He was given us wings, right? Okay. And all of that was satanic. It was evil, right? Because how dare they try to improve on the human being, right? Or improve and whatever, all of that. Okay. So in every age, and I'm talking industrial age, okay, we're in the technological age right now. Okay, in every age, there's that. Okay, oh, this is bad, this is evil, this is not good, this is, whatever. But there are legitimate concerns, okay? But this is not about politics, but this is about how you can bring things into your world regardless of the system. Okay, yes, you have to pay taxes in the system. You have to do as the system suggests, okay? But within those parameters, you can enjoy anything, and you can create, okay? And when you create, you will receive. So what's the formula? Ask, believe, receive. Where do you ask? You ask in here, okay? The journey of Moses in the Bible, okay, is just the transition from the left brain thinking to the right brain. Okay, the promised land is the right. Why? Because ego lives in the left. Ego is a byproduct of the left hemisphere of the brain, where logic is. And that tells you that, oh, this is logical. Oh, that's logical. This is not logical. That doesn't make sense. I've done so many things in my life that didn't make sense. When I started my consulting company, I have a consulting company. You can look it up. It's a thing, VMAC Consultants in Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii. But when I was starting my consulting company, I talked to this guy who was an MBA. He had a degree in business. And he goes, oh, you can't do it the way you're going about this. This is not how it's done. And here we are, right? I started the company in 2010. Here we are in 2026. It's still in place, going strong. You can go to the website. Takes the ball and runs with it. It starts to repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. So it's important that you put something in your subconscious that works. Something positive that's good. Because when you do that, right? The fruits of the tree, you shall know them by their fruits, right? Those are the actions that bring the results. Now you have good actions. You cannot have bad results with good actions. It's impossible. And you just need to take the baby steps. Why? Because there's the superconscious or God. Okay? So conscious, subconscious, the superconscious. We can call it the network. If we're talking about a computer, the conscious mind is the processor, your operating system. Okay? The subconscious is where the programs are stored. The superconscious is the network that we're all plugged into by awareness. Okay? We are all aware, all human beings. The highest intelligence on the planet. So how does that work? Well, as you take the steps towards something, and I work with my clients to show them these. I take the steps with them, right? And show them how when you take the steps, the doors open, the right people come into play, and you get what you want. Or let's say it another way, you achieve your goal. Or let's say it another way, you manifest what you desire. So if it's a money thing, right? A lot of people are like, okay, how do we do it with money? Okay, first of all, right, don't look at money as this unattainable object, okay? Because the government prints money, okay? They print it. It's abundant. When you walk into a shopping center, everybody has some form of money on them, whether it's a credit card, a debit card, cash, coins, whatever it is, okay? You're surrounded by money. Money is an energy. Everybody in your neighborhood has some form of money. Money is abundant. But you have to shift your thinking. If your thinking is, wow, there's this limited thing, it's rare, it's, you know. I didn't get my, I have a bag of quarters with a dollar sign on the bag. And I use it with my clients for visualization purposes. Okay? And one of the exercises is to count money, to feel money. Okay? So that it goes into your subconscious as a good thing. Why? Because we always have these hang-ups about money. People have tons of hang-ups about money. You ever give somebody some money and they go, oh, no, what's that for? What's that for? Or you give somebody money and, oh, no, you shouldn't, no, and they give it back. They have hang-ups about money. Those people don't have money, okay? And you can tell they don't have money because of the way they feel about